Habit or obsession? It can be a fine line, and our next guest says she's obsessed with vapor rub. We have Floris join us today via Skype. So, Floris, can you tell us a little bit about how much you use vapor rub and what it is that you love so much about it?
I use vapor rub every day. I cover myself from head to toe every single day with it. Every night, I'm like obsessed with the way it smells and the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel so relaxed.
And Floris, can you give us a little bit of background as to when you started doing this and why?
Okay, so I started using it like during pregnancy. I was pregnant with twins at the time, and I had a really bad cold, and I started using it, and it made me feel so relaxed, and it made me feel so good. And then I received some news that one of the twins vanished, and so I became totally depressed. I became anxious, and so I started using the vapor rub. I started, inhaling it, and it just made me feel very relaxed.
Yeah, there is something about it that is soothing, but why we wanted to talk with you, Floris, is because there is that fine line between something that you really like and something that becomes a true obsession. I want to bring into the conversation psychotherapist and author of the book, Your Subconscious Brain Can Change Your Life, Dr. Mike Dow. Because, Dr. Dow, we've talked about obsessions, addictions, habits, and no offense, Floris, but head to toe multiple times a day.
Yeah. And it's for 5 years, correct, Floris? You've been doing this for a long time.
It's 5 years, and I love it. It's anti-aging too, guys.
So I know we want to get to Dr. Dow, but very briefly, Floris, that the camphor is actually highly toxic and irritating, both to your mucous membranes, to your skin. If you ingest it, it can be poisonous. If you get it in your eye, it can injure your cornea. I mean, we know as a chemical that can actually be quite problematic. But I think the bigger question here is from Dr. Dow. I really think about this sort of aspect of it as a coping mechanism is what we need to address.
Yes, and I've read a little bit more about her case, and she also would ingest it. So I think when she was pregnant, she actually met the criteria for pica. She probably had a deficiency, but now it's actually emotional. So she's no longer a pica case. Now this is actually an emotional need. So she's putting all of these emotional needs, that loss of her twin that she was carrying onto this object, onto this vapor rub. So one of the strategies that I use for children is having a pica box. So if they're eating something like rocks, we put a lot of things like granola into this box. So, what I would suggest for her, it's a cognitive behavioral strategy in addition to therapy, finding other healthier things like lotions that are safe into a box. So you're taking these substitutions so that you can gradually move away from something that's unhealthy in this obsession and gradually baby stepping your way into something that's healthier.
That's gonna be really hard. Those things have to really smell like vapor rub for sure.
The camphor smell.
Well, and maybe there's some cough drops.
There's
a lot of ways.
Yeah, a lot of people
it's an
like
enticing
camphor.
smell.
Yeah.
It really is, and like a cigarette smoker who really gets used to that cigarette and holding it. The cigarette smoker, maybe they need a lollipop to get rid of that obsession, that compulsion to always have something in their hand. For you, I think it's going to be hard, but I think that if you gradually get rid of it and also find the emotional needs, what are your emotional needs? I have a feeling that what you actually need isn't a lotion, isn't a smell of anything, but it's probably support in your life. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that you need that is going to actually help you to actually get rid of this obsession.
And Floris, that's why obviously we're not going to be able to solve all of this today during a 5-minute segment, but licensed counselor Malika Boajash is offering you 24 sessions of therapy at no cost to you. So we wish you nothing but the best, and rest assured there are plenty of great skincare products out there that you can apply in the morning and at night that we'll make sure that you know what those are. And thank you for sharing your story.